Well guys, the WWE's Clash of Champions 2020 pay-per-view event has now come and gone, and while this is not usually one of the big or highly anticipated WWE pay-per-views, there's no doubt that there's still a lot to talk about the 2020 version of Clash of Champions. And before we get into our main story regarding tonight's show, we will provide the fans who possibly missed the event with a quick recap of all the action and big moments that transpired at Clash of Champions this year. The action at Clash of Champions began on the kickoff show with a scheduled SmackDown Tag Team Championship match between champions Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro against the Lucha House Party. As expected, this was a pretty fun yet quick match to get fans ready for all the other action to come later on in the night on the main Clash of Champions card. And at the end of the day, Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro predictably retained their SmackDown Tag Team Championships over the Lucha House Party. The WWE's Clash of Champions 2020 main card opened up with the highly anticipated ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship between Jeff Hardy, Sami Zayn, and AJ Styles. And by all means, Vince certainly put this match on first for a reason, as there's no doubt this bout was one of the highly anticipated matches on tonight's card, and would serve as a perfect way to get fans engaged with the rest of the Clash of Champions 2020 event. The ladder match not surprisingly started off great, with all three superstars doing a fantastic job selling the big spots in this awesome ladder match, and as the match progressed, the spots only got crazier, and most fans were certainly at the edge of their seats for the bulk majority of this ladder match, and Jeff Hardy simply could not resist keeping tradition alive, with Hardy performing an insane swanton bomb through the ladder and Sami Zayn towards the end of the match. When it was all said and done, after some high-level IQ maneuvering from Sami Zayn, Sami shockingly pulled off the Intercontinental title win, and Sami is now officially the true IC champion in WWE. Right after the IC title ladder match, the WWE shifted backstage to R-Truth, who was certainly being cautious and careful considering all the championships were on the line tonight, and not surprisingly, Drew Gulak completely caught R-Truth off guard and rolled up Truth for the 3 count to become the new 24/7 champion. The next official match at Clash of Champions was the Raw Women's title match between current title holder Asuka against intriguing challenger Zelina Vega, and as most fans had predicted, this match was pretty short, and at the end of the day, Asuka predictably retained her Raw Women's title against Zelina Vega, and while Zelina did end up losing, it cannot be denied that she had a pretty good showing against Asuka at least, so it's likely that she will still be in and around the title scene over the next few months. Next up, we had the United States Championship match between champion Bobby Lashley and challenger Apollo Crews. After a fairly quick-paced back-and-forth match, Bobby Lashley ended up retaining his United States Championship after using the Hurt Lock on Apollo Crews. The match itself wasn't anything too special, but the main purpose here was to simply get some momentum back on Lashley's side, and another win over Apollo Crews did that to some degree for Bobby Lashley. We then had the Raw Tag Team Championship match between current title holders, the Street Profits, against challengers Andrade and Angel Garza. This fairly quick and predictable match ended in a pretty confusing way, with it seeming as though Andrade managed to kick out of Angelo Dawkins' spinebuster in time to save the match, but the referee proceeded to ring the bell, and the Street Profits retained their Raw Tag Team titles regardless of the seemingly botched ending. But one source has mentioned that this weird finish is likely because of the fact that Angel Garza reportedly had gotten injured in this match, and Vince wanted the bout to be finished quickly after Garza's injury. Right afterwards, in true R-Truth fashion, Truth managed to regain his 24/7 title from Drew Gulak backstage, making R-Truth now a 40-time 24/7 champion. Next up, we were supposed to have the SmackDown Women's Championship match between Bayley and Nikki Cross, but Bayley revealed that Nikki Cross would not be competing tonight, but Asuka proceeded to try and save the day, with a match between Bayley and Asuka then taking place instead for the SmackDown Women's title. But not surprisingly, Sasha Banks made her presence felt after the match ended, with Sasha getting a bit of much needed revenge on Bayley for all of the current SmackDown Women's Champions' antics lately, with it being made clear that Sasha Banks is coming for Bayley's title very soon. We then had the highly anticipated WWE Championship ambulance match between Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton, and as you had seen in the title and thumbnail for this video, our main story today is regarding this match, and we will get into that at the end of the video, so do stay tuned. While many fans were sure that Randy Orton was going to be winning the WWE title tonight at Clash of Champions 2020, in typical Vince McMahon fashion, that wasn't the case whatsoever, because throughout Orton's ambulance match against Drew McIntyre, some of Randy's latest victims appeared to try and stop Orton from winning the gold. including the likes of The Big Show, Christian, Shawn Michaels, and Ric Flair. And at the end of the night, Drew McIntyre retained his WWE Championship. But as we will discuss shortly, Randy Orton was not a fan of this lazy booking decision whatsoever. Clash of Champions 2020 concluded with a Universal title match between Roman Reigns and his cousin Jey Uso, and by all means this match was fantastic, with Roman Reigns truly showing his dominance against Jey Uso towards the end of the match, with Jimmy Uso returning to throw in the towel, which secured Roman Reigns retaining his Universal Championship and truly cementing himself as the Tribal Chief. And by most fans' accounts, Roman Reigns has never looked better as a monstrous heel and made a huge statement tonight at Clash of Champions, with the WWE doing some great storytelling here as well. We now have our main story for this video, and it is regarding the rumored backstage fight at Clash of Champions tonight after Randy Orton's loss against Drew McIntyre for the WWE title in their ambulance match. According to one of our sources, Vince McMahon had reportedly promised Randy Orton that he was going to be winning the WWE title tonight at Clash of Champions, and then proceed to defend the gold against Drew McIntyre at the upcoming Hell in a Cell pay-per-view event, in which Orton would have likely lost the gold back to Drew McIntyre, and then get drafted over to Friday Night SmackDown. But McMahon apparently changed the script at the last minute tonight, and decided to instead change the ambulance match outcome to Drew winning based off all the interferences from Randy Orton's past victims. One source mentioned that Randy Orton hated the idea and felt this change of plans essentially ruined his latest revitalized run in WWE with no payoff, now that Drew will also likely be retaining the gold at Hell in a Cell and then embark on a title feud with Keith Lee. And we have been told that Randy Orton was furious behind the scenes before the match began after realizing that he was not going to be getting the title win he was apparently promised. And as shocking as it may sound, we have been informed that after the match ended, Randy Orton proceeded to engage in a bit of a verbal altercation or fight with Vince McMahon backstage at Clash of Champions, by basically stating that Vince made the wrong move by not at least letting him get the title for even a short reign before Hell in a Cell. And Orton reportedly told McMahon that he didn't appreciate getting lied to about getting another reign as WWE Champion, with Randy apparently stating to Vince that he has worked so hard over the past several months to reinvigorate his career, and now feels gypped that his storyline won't have a payoff, considering Randy's allegedly getting drafted to SmackDown and likely will not be winning the Universal title anytime soon either. One source mentioned that Vince apparently told Randy Orton that his days as a world champion are basically over, and his job now is to get the young up-and-coming superstars over, like Drew McIntyre for example, and that Randy has had his time in the spotlight and then some, and should be grateful for all of his world title reigns throughout his career, and should not be focusing on winning the title anymore, with Vince allegedly telling Orton that he was essentially being a crybaby for no reason, and that the WWE made the right business choice tonight at Clash of Champions 2020. Randy allegedly stormed out of the backstage area after this comment from Vince, and by all means it doesn't seem as though Randy's very happy about the direction of his storyline in WWE whatsoever. And by all accounts, make sure you guys give us your thoughts and opinions on this big developing story tonight at Clash of Champions involving Randy Orton and Vince McMahon.